Okay, I've now done a couple of very subtle things. One of them was to the drums, and the other that I'll show you in a second is something that I've done to synth number 1, which is the robotic voice. So first of all, on the drums, I've added a compressor, and I've added it to the drum group. So if you listen to our drums now, with the compressor and without, so I'll start without and then I'll turn the compressor on, and what you should hear is the drums seem to have a little bit more life. You can hear more characteristics of the clap, and the whole snare and drum kit seem to glue together a little bit more. With and without. So with the compressor, the snare kind of comes a little bit more forward and becomes more prominent. Without the compressor, the snare was just sort of getting lost in the background and sounded a bit weaker. Okay, so I just used a normal compressor and insert, and I used a preset called Dance Snare, and then just turned the threshold up and down till I got a gain reduction amount that I was happy with. Okay, left the makeup gain on auto. Okay, next thing that I did was focus my attention on the next instrument that comes in, which is the synth 1. And when I listened to the original track, I felt like the robotic voice had a lot more width to it than my version did. So okay, and then we go and listen to our version of that on synth 1 there. Okay, no effects on at the moment. Okay, it's got a little bit of reverb, which is giving it some depth, but it's not really wide enough, so I turned on a delay. So what you should hear is the sound almost seems to move from left to right a bit at the end of the sound. It's quite subtle, but at least it's copying what we're hearing in the track. And if we were to write in our logbook that we send across to the examiner that we had added a stereo delay onto this particular synth to increase its width, it kind of proves that you know what you're doing, and you should get marks for doing it. It doesn't have to be over the top and obvious, because you can draw his attention to what you've done by writing about it and being knowledgeable in your log. So the stereo delay, I've turned on an insert, which isn't a normal thing to do, but you can get away with it, and I chose the stereo spread preset there. You can experiment with different ones, but you don't want to go over the top with the delay to get something that sounds like it's ping-ponging all over the place. So the two things together now, with that delay and the compression on the drums, okay, next thing I'm going to turn my attention to is our pad sound. So let's just go and listen to the original pad sound in this track where it comes in. Okay, I noticed that there's like quite a dynamic change there, and listening to the sound, it sounds like quite a thin string sound. So let's just listen to our pad sound. Okay, we've got some noticeable differences in volume there, which are probably due to, if I shrink this so you can see it, they're mainly due to different velocity settings within this part. Okay, bring that down slightly so you can see the different notes in the chords, and you can see the different velocities that are making them up, and they may be a little bit too varied at the moment, so I need to make them all so they're more the same with the pencil tool. So I'm going to even them out first, make the velocities more the same, and if we want to add dynamics we'll do it with volume automation. But I think we need to look at the envelope of the sound using the Halion editor and look at the release and the attack time so that the notes of this chord start to blend into each other. So the next video we'll concentrate on this pad sound.